The News 4 Rundown starts now.
And just like that, we are already halfway through the week. Good to have you here with us on a Wednesday night. I am Joseph Olmo, and there is a lot to talk about tonight. Coming up, our top leaders at one of the biggest police departments in our region responsible for changing crime statistics to make it look like violence was going down. We're going to be diving into a 500-page report tonight that does not paint a pretty picture for several officers. Plus, move over Pac-Man. You might notice some new arcade games on the National Mall. Well, they're more than just video games. They are actually a form of protest. We'll tell you what they are all about. Then, pack your bags. We're hopping the pond. The Washington Commanders are headed to London, who the Burgundy and Gold will be playing in the UK, and what the matchup will look like between the lines. But we begin with a question. Is it raining by you? By the looks of that radar, it's raining by a lot of people tonight. Storms are rolling through the region this hour. Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Doug Kammerer is tracking it all for us. Doug, any chance that any of that green that we see up there could turn severe?
We have had a severe thunderstorm, had a couple of severe storms actually making their way on through the area, and we do have one warning that is still out there. Right now, a little bit of a break for a lot of us, especially around the D.C. metro. We had the showers come through a little bit earlier, now moving down to the south. Now we have some clearing skies and rather nice weather, but you look off to the west, there's that line of strong to severe storms coming on through the area. There's the rain that has been lighter, but still making its way off toward the east. But back to the west, tracking this line right now, one severe thunderstorm warning. This is for northern portions of Frederick County right now, in towards western portions of Carroll County, just east of Hagerstown. The line, though, goes in through portions of Jefferson County, around Cabletown, around Charlestown, in through Loudoun County, very close to Luckett's, and in towards areas around Winchester, Clark County, around Bluemont, and then down towards Front Royal as well. So again, strong storms here. Where are they heading? Well, right now, the strongest storm right over Thurmont. This is the one that had the warning over towards Lewistown as well. Seems to be weakening just a little bit, and I expect these to continue to weaken a little bit. But I think a lot of us are going to see some lightning and thunder out of this. So don't be surprised to see a little bit of that nice little line of storms coming on through the area, dumping some heavy rain at times across the region. This storm will usher in much cooler air and not a very nice Thursday. But after that, I think things look really good as we head towards the weekend.
Are we talking about a fantastic Friday?
We are.
Oh, love to. Good tease, good tease. We'll talk to Doug in a second. Thanks, Doug. Well, it is a story that just keeps on making headlines. Last year, News 4 was the first to tell you that a command official, a top leader at the D.C. Police Department, was allegedly changing crime statistics to make it look like violent crime was going down in D.C. Well, this week we obtained the results of an investigation that's more than 500 pages long, and it doesn't look good for several leaders in the department. News 4's Paul Wagner spent the last 2 days going through the 554-page report and walks us through what he's learned.
Well, good evening. 6 investigators and 3 supervisors at Internal Affairs spent more than 2 months interviewing dozens of officers and officials. They seized phones, examined email and text messages. They looked through countless crime reports, and what they found, according to the Internal Affairs report, was a willingness to reclassify crimes for a variety of reasons, which made it appear crime was lower than it actually was. One captain admitted to downgrading 360 reports. When investigators with Internal Affairs seized the work phone of Andre Wright, the co-executive assistant chief of police, the report says they found page after page of vulgar and crass text messages he exchanged with his wife, Natasha Wright, an inspector in the department. Most of the messages had sexual overtones, but others had to do with crime stats and how Wright thought they should be recorded. In the conclusion of their investigation, Internal Affairs wrote in part, while there is no evidence other than conjecture from witnesses that Chief Wright specifically directed the misclassification of crimes on a large scale, the pattern of conduct uncovered certainly indicates that he was aware of and supported the practice. At a news conference last week, Interim Chief of Police Jeffrey Carroll was asked about his decision to issue letters of termination to 13 of the 19 officials.
Can't really get into the specifics of it.
Another top official accused in the case is Lachey Makel. Until recently, she was an assistant chief overseeing patrol. According to the Internal Affairs report, Chief Makel's leadership ultimately created a culture within 7D, according to witnesses, in which they eventually purposely underclassified crime, either to meet her then understood expectations or to avoid contentious exchanges with her. In the interview with Internal Affairs, Makel denied ever participating in conversations with subordinates in which she influenced reporting classifications. However, investigators say they found an email that showed the opposite when Makel was the commander of the 7th District. In the email, Commander Makel said she was concerned with a large number of theft reports and thought some could be reclassified. A sergeant reviewed 26 reports and found 6 that could be reclassified. Makel wrote back in the email, "Sergeant, thank you. This is fantastic." Makel then wrote a captain and said, "Please handle all those in need of classification changes." Detectives working in the 7th District were so concerned with the pattern of crimes that were being downgraded, they decided to track them with a spreadsheet. After News4 reported last July that Commander Michael Pulliam had been placed on leave and accused by then Chief of Police Pam Smith of manipulating crime stats, the Department of Justice and the House Oversight Committee launched their own investigations. Pulliam denied the allegations, but investigators with Internal Affairs say Pulliam changed the classifications in 157 reports. Pulliam told the investigators his reclassifications were made to ensure accurate reporting. Perhaps one of the more eye-opening discoveries in the report is the case of Captain George Donegan, who investigators say reclassified 360 reports. The investigators wrote Captain Donegan admitted his conduct to the IAD when interviewed. He admitted that he intentionally classified or reclassified reports to reflect lesser offenses and inferred that it was the result of pressure to lower crime stats, both in 2D and his Thrive area. Now, the report also notes the fact that back in April of 2019 and December of 2019, Internal Affairs investigated allegations of manipulating crime stats in 2 separate police districts. Both investigations ended without anyone facing discipline. We should note all 13 MPD employees issued termination letters are on leave and have the legal right to appeal. News4 reached out to both Andre Wright and Lachey Makel to ask them about the claims in the IAD report. We have not heard back. Although the Internal Affairs investigation is over, the Inspector General is expected to release an audit in the coming days. That's the latest from here in the newsroom. Now back to you.
All right, Paul Wagner, thanks so much. Here are 4 things we've been paying attention to for you today. And we're going to start with a topic I know a lot of you have questions about. Right now, the Maryland Department of Health is monitoring 2 residents who briefly traveled on the same plane with a passenger who was infected with the hantavirus. In Virginia, 1 person is being monitored for potential exposure, though public health leaders continue to say risk to the public is low. Over to Fairfax County now, where earlier today, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, there she is, signed several bills into law to lower the cost of health care and prescription drug prices. For example, a 30-day supply of insulin will soon be capped to $35. That's down from $50. That law takes effect on July 1st. Also taking effect on July 1st, a new bill that expands what Virginia insurance plans must cover to include doula care, infertility treatment, and hearing aids for Virginians of all ages. Lots of talk about money and Montgomery County Public Schools. So the Montgomery County Council is set to vote on next year's budget, but there's a problem. A budget gap of nearly $190 million could mean that hundreds of MCPS positions could be on the chopping block, and that includes teachers. We'll be watching to see what happens tomorrow when the County Council votes on the budget. And Dulles International Airport could look a whole lot different over the next decade. We are learning more about a $22 billion plan to rebuild the more than 60-year-old airport. It would include brand new concourses, an expanded aerotrain system, and potentially get rid of the infamous people movers. All of this comes after President Trump last year described Dulles as a terrible airport and that he'd like to see it rebuilt. We asked the authority that runs Dulles about all of this. They said they are waiting for the government to officially unveil the plans to enhance Dulles. You know, it seems like there's always something happening on the National Mall, but this weekend, it's really going to be busy. On Sunday, not only will there be the graduation for one of D.C.'s biggest colleges, George Washington University, there's also going to be a national prayer event featuring some of the biggest names in religion. News 4's Mark Seagraves tonight on how police have been getting ready for all these events for more than a year.
The stage is set along the National Mall for Sunday's National Jubilee of Prayer, one of the first large-scale America 250 events that will be on the National Mall this year. Officials expect about 15,000 people for the gathering. Just a few blocks away, also on Sunday and also on the National Mall, George Washington University's Class of 26 commencement.
We will be ready. From important commemorations and public events to college and university and high school graduations, FIFA Fan Fest, barbecue battle, to Capitol Pride, 4th of July celebrations, the Great American State Fair, the Great American Farmers Market, and yes, the district's first major IndyCar street race, the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. Washington, D.C. will be the place to be this summer.
The next weekend, it's Memorial Day celebrations, parade, and concert.
Expect a wide security perimeter and traffic closures. Closures around the Rededicate 250 event on Sunday will be along 7th and 12th Streets and the roads around the National Mall. This event also coincides with George Washington University's commencement ceremony, taking place on the grounds of the Washington Monument between 15th and 17th Streets. I recommend anyone planning on coming to the area of the National Mall this Sunday to use mass transit.
In light of the rise of political violence, law enforcement is coordinating at the highest levels for these events.
We recognize that these events are occurring within a specific context of national and global events, and so that has certainly informed our communications, our intelligence monitoring, our cooperation with task force and otherwise.
We're still in close coordination with the Secret Service and the other federal law enforcement agencies that play a role, the FBI, to make sure that we have seamless communication and coordination and information sharing. So right now there is no specific credible threat towards any of the events that are out there, but even with that being said, MPD of course is taking a heightened posture with our partners to make sure we have the appropriate safeguards in place to keep the community safe.
And of course, there are the normal warnings for any large event, like staying hydrated, having an emergency plan, and signing up to Alert DC for updates. In the district, Mark Seagraves, News 4.
All right, Mark, thank you. Well, this is going to be, as Mark said, a busy couple of months in D.C. with a lot of events. So guess what? We made a list of everything that's happening. You can access that list on our NBC Washington app or NBCWashington.com. Just search America, there we go, America 250. Much more to come tonight on the News 4 Rundown, including a check back in with Doug. Hey, Doug.
Yeah, still tracking those storms, making their way on through the area. The heaviest storm right now over Frederick County, moving into Loudoun. That line extends right on down towards Luray, heading off towards the east, toward the D.C. metro area, most likely around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'll be watching this for you as we make our way through the rest of tonight. I'll be back in just a minute to show you what's next and what that could mean for your weekend.
You know, the National Mall probably isn't the first place that comes to mind when you think of arcade games, but some new video games that have just popped up at the D.C. War Memorial, which is right by the Lincoln Memorial, they're turning some heads. News 4's Megan McGrath shows us that they are actually a form of protest.
Video games inside the D.C. War Memorial? Yup, and the game is taking aim at the administration's war with Iran. It's the latest installation by the anonymous group Secret Handshake, the same folks that did the golden toilet installation and the statue of President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein on the National Mall. The game is called Epic Furious, Straight to Hell. Straight spelled like the Strait of Hormuz. And the game pokes fun at the administration's war with Iran, which was dubbed Operation Epic Fury. Donna and Don Powell came by this morning to try it out.
I think this is great. We've been to a bunch of the other statues that the Secret Handshake has put up, and I think by far this one's the most creative and the most fun and most interactive. So I hope it stays up longer than what they usually do.
I think you have to share it through humor because, you know, they're censoring Jimmy Fallon and everybody else. They have to get their message out through humor.
People who play the game as the president can choose to order a Diet Coke or invade Iran. You can move the president all around the Oval Office and the White House, where the player will encounter caricatures of people like Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, FBI Director Kash Patel, and even the First Lady, Melania Trump. The game consoles are fully operational and free. You don't need any quarters. They are expected to be in the D.C. War Memorial off Independence Avenue for the next few days. But not everybody thinks this is funny. I talked to two women who didn't want to go on camera, and they have concerns about an installation like this being inside a memorial that honors those who died in war. Megan McGrath, News 4.
What an active evening tonight across the DMV. You know, I feel like we're in that time of the year where whatever you like, you got. One day it's cold, one day it's warm, one day it's wet, one day it's not.
And that was kind of what we saw today. I mean, even starting off on a cooler note this morning, but not bad. A great start to the day, plenty of sunshine. The clouds moved in, then the rain moved in. Now we see a little bit of a break in the rain, and then we'll see some more rain coming in. I'm looking at these big boats out here, the boats on the Potomac. There were two of them a minute ago. The other one just went off the screen there. But I'm wondering how long they're going to be out there, because we got some big-time rain coming through in about an hour or 2 hours, really. 64 degrees the current temperature right now. High temperatures today got into the 70s. It was really nice earlier. Then we saw those clouds and the showers. Temperatures area-wide into the 60s for the most part. 67 in Gaithersburg. It cooled for the early part of the day, or early rain showers, and then warmed right back up as we saw some clearing. Look back toward the west. How about this? 52 now in Winchester, 54 in Martinsburg. That's where the line of storms is, bringing through colder air. Now, nothing around the I-95 corridor. This is now through areas like Frederick, in towards Loudoun County, around Leesburg, in towards Bluemont, in towards areas down around Front Royal and Luray. You can see there are a couple of heavier storms here. This one up to the north was the strongest, had a severe thunderstorm warning with it a little bit earlier, but no longer seeing the severe part of this one. Had some pretty strong winds earlier. Now those winds are beginning to subside. Frederick, though, heavy rain, especially between Frederick and down towards Leesburg along 15. This is going to be a slow go of things. 340 between Frederick and over towards Charlestown. Definitely a slow go right now. Down around Bluemont, seeing that rain, and then farther to the south, in and around Front Royal, down around Luray, as this makes its way towards Rappahannock County and towards Fauquier County. This is a strong part of the storm right now, and it's all moving off to the east at about 35 miles an hour. So on this track, this part of it moves through Leesburg in about 10 minutes, Marshall at 8:06, Germantown at 8:15, Rockville 8:36, Fairfax right around 9 o'clock, and in towards D.C. right around 9:20 or so, between 9:15 and 9:30. So that's what we're watching. This is all part of that cold front that's working its way towards our region. Now, as it does so, it'll bring the chance for some heavy downpours, maybe another severe thunderstorm warning or two out of this. I'll be monitoring that for you. But the bigger thing, I think, is going to be the cooler air. There goes the rain. By 11 o'clock, it's almost done with us. But watch what happens tomorrow. We see starting off temperatures in the upper 40s to around 50 degrees, a cool start. And look at the cloud cover. Almost all day we have clouds and really cool temperatures. I mean, only going for a high temperature maybe in the 50s to maybe the low 60s tomorrow. Temperatures will be about 10 to potentially 15 degrees below average tomorrow. Kind of a dreary day out there on our Thursday, too. But here's the good thing. By Friday, we're looking fantastic. And look at the numbers, 64 to 74 to 83 to 89 on Sunday. Sunday, a 30% chance of showers or storms coming on in here. Saturday, of course, the Preakness looking great weather-wise for that. Now, as we make our way towards next week, it is hot. 90 degrees or better for 3 consecutive days. That would be a heat wave Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Also going to add in some humidity, something we haven't seen a whole lot of. So, yeah, rather hot and humid weather making its way in to start off next week.
I don't like that, Doug. It is going to be a stormy night here in the DMV. Thank you so much. The Preakness is just a few days away. It's being held this year in Laurel for the first and likely the last time. But as News 4's Darcy Spencer reports, local businesses, they are hoping to attract the crowds that'll already be in town for the race.
We started at Olive on Main in Laurel, one of the restaurants participating in the Saddle Up promotion for Preakness. Nadal Hishma is the owner.
We're very excited for Preakness. We've been here for 12 years, and we've always kind of been, Laurel's a big part of race culture in Maryland, so having it right in our backyard is a great opportunity for us, and it's exciting.
He's expecting to see some new faces along with the regulars. There'll be specials, and of course, the race will play on the big screens.
We're definitely going to have some bourbon-featured cocktails, mint juleps, and we're putting together now kind of a like a promotion to, pick your favorite horse in the race and win a raffle like that. So we're working on that today.
It's the first time the Preakness will be held in Laurel. Pimlico was under redevelopment. Businesses are hoping people in town for the race will stop by. Laurel Mayor Keith Sidnor.
I'm excited. This is one of the big 3-horse races in the United States, and it was in Pimlico. Now it's come to Laurel Racetrack. Like you said, it's right outside the city, but we got we had a lot of events scheduled this week, and one of the things we promote our local businesses here.
We headed over to the Laurel Golf Center. They're getting in on the Preakness action too. It has been a while since I've been at the driving range, but let's go ahead and give it a try. It's a grounder, but hey, it's better than a swing and a miss. Kim Casey is head of operations at the Golf Center.
It is so exciting to have the Preakness here in Laurel, Maryland for 2026. For us, it's particularly exciting because we are literally a chip shot away from Laurel Park. The racetrack is right across the street from our golf center.
She's hoping to draw a crowd on race day. With warm weather in the forecast, she says it'll be a great day for racing and golf.
We do have a kids camp in the morning, so we have 30 kids plus their parents, family, siblings out here. We're expecting quite a lot of traffic in the afternoon, so we're going to have a Preakness viewing and parking party.
Over at Laurel Park, workers are getting the track in top shape for the race. Preakness is being held here for just 1 year. While there is a lot of excitement about the race being in Laurel, some of the regulars are disappointed. It would have cost too much for them to go.
It would be nice if I could get in, but other than that, it's excitable. I wish I could be here to see it, but can't afford it.
Attendance is capped at around 4,800 participants. Pimlico traditionally tracks at least 100,000 on race day. Seem like you know a little something. Do you want to say who you think might win this thing?
Well, I don't know nothing, but I'm hoping that Brittany Russell's horse give a good showing. She's a local trainer, so I'm going to bet my money on her.
Official tickets for Preakness have been sold out, but of course the best way to watch the race is right here on NBC4. At Laurel Park, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
Darcy's got a much better swing than I do, that's for sure. Hey, speaking of sports, Commanders headed over to the UK. We'll talk about them playing in London right after this. All right, football fans, tomorrow we will learn the full slate of games for the NFL season. But today, the international games were revealed. The Commanders are going to take on the Colts in London on October 4th. For more on that matchup, here's Team Insider JP Finley.
Greetings from Oregon. This is not the trip everybody's talking about, though. My golf trip. The trip everybody's talking about. The Washington Commanders going to play the Indianapolis Colts in London week 4 of the NFL season. That's right. The league made it official. The Commanders will be playing the Colts at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London October 4th, 4th week of the season. So who are they facing in the Colts? The Colts were really good to start the season last year. Daniel Jones is their quarterback. They agreed to new terms with him. He's going to be back in Indy. There are some questions about how healthy he will be. He did have a major injury last year, but by week 4, I'd expect Daniel Jones to be back on the field. Then you've also got the Jonathan Taylor question. He is a beast of a running back for the Colts. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. Washington's run defense is going to have to be on point if they're going to be able to beat Indy. But for fans, this is super exciting. It's the second straight year with an international game, and it's Washington's first game in London since a tie against the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's hope there's not another tie. Covering the Commanders from Oregon, I'm JP Finley.
That guy never stops working. I'll tell you what, he's even working on his personal golf trip. Best of luck to you, JP. If you want to hear more from JP on the Commanders, scan the QR code right up there on the screen. That's going to take you to our All Ears playlist on YouTube. We have a new episode tonight at 8:30 as JP brings us inside access into rookie mini camp. That's going to do it for us here on the News4 Rundown for this Wednesday night. Happy Hump Day, everybody. I am Joseph Olmo. The news continues at 11 o'clock tonight. We'll see you then.